Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be looking at this deck here. I've been having a lot of issues recently with this deck where every time I bring it out, people get mad, they get flustered, and I've been told that to stop playing this deck, and I'm not actually sure why, because I don't know, I don't really think it's that good, but I guess let's take a look at it. So we have Kroxa here. I just really like the art on this guy, and I thought his ability was kind of cool. But I don't really Basically, what he does is when he enters, he sacks himself unless he escapes, and then if he enters or attacks, each opponent discards a card, and then each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life. This deck's not built on discard, so again, I don't really know what the problem is. He has an escape cost, but which I do try to get to in most of my games. Basically, just like a lot of mid-range cards that have basically nothing to do with discard. So anyway, he's really cool. We have a Lightning Axe here, where you discard a card and deal 5 damage to something. So it's just removal. Innocent Blood, where each player sacks a creature. So that's just kind of like a, like a board check, I guess. Claim, this is, we have some creatures we can target with this. And then Flame, sometimes is relevant. Red Elemental Blast, because some people play blue and it kind of gets annoying. Faithless Looting, so we draw 2, discard 2. And not a Pringle, not really Pringle, but it's getting there. Vicious Rumors, it deals 1 damage to each opponent, so again, and then it makes everybody discard a card and put the top card of the library into their graveyard, so it gain 1 life. But the real effect is to deal 1 damage there. We have Unearth, again, we have some creatures we can target with this. He's a good target for it because he deals 3 damage to people. Gamble, I don't really like this card that much, honestly, but is this a search card for the deck? Shrieking Affliction, again, it deals 3 damage to them at the beginning of their upkeep if they have, 1 or fewer cards in their hand. DRC, every time you cast a non-creature spell, you look at the top card of your library. Basically, you just surveil, so. Really like her. Lightning Bolts, obviously some good removal. Hopeless Nightmare, it's mainly here for the lose 2 life effect, not for the other effect that's on there. Dark Ritual, ramp. Burning Inquiry, so basically, I want to sometimes I don't like my hand, so I'm like, okay, I'll just play this and get 3 more cards. And I try to help other people out by playing this, because sometimes they don't have good cards in their hands, so they draw 3, and they do have to discard, unfortunately. So yeah, Soul Ring, because obviously. Strike Your Rich for more ramp. Quest for Milestone, this is just here for the lose life effect. And beginning each opponent's upkeep, that player has no cards in their hand. And then what? And a quest for the Milestone it has 2 or more quest counters on it. You may have the player lose 5 life. So it's more of a draining life. This is a Bitter Triumph. It's awesome. It's just good removal. Demonic Council. Again, it's a really good tutor that we can hit Delirium pretty fast in this deck anyway. Asylum Visitor. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player has no cards in their hand. You draw a card and lose a life. Again, benefiting from them not having cards in their hand, I guess. Persist, obviously, because I have some targets in here for that. Molten Collapse, this card is insane. Basically, if you descended, surveilling, fetching lands or whatever, you can get both these effects where you can destroy target creature or planeswalker, or destroy target non-creature non-land permanent with mana value of 1 or less. Animate Dead, this is for obviously one of the combos in the deck that I've never resolved, so whatever. Rakdos Charm, because, you know, destroying target artifacts or exiling graveyards is pretty good. And then token players, you know, you can just basically kill them with the last effect. Abrade is just good. Collector's Vault, you know, sometimes I don't, like, I have to filter and get a treasure. Arcane Signet. Waste Not, you know, sometimes, you know, your opponents get too much cards in their hand, and you kind of want to benefit from them having discard at the end of their turn. You know, like I said, I don't have a whole lot of discard effects in here anyway. Pyroclasm, it's a good board wipe. Felwar Stone, more ramp. Inti is insane, I love this card. And it's really good in this deck because every time I discard, you know, I get value basically from him. But yeah, Liliana's Caress, whenever an opponent discards by chance, you know, they lose 2 life. Throw a possibility, more draw, more draw. This makes people sack certain permanents based on whatever you pick. Most of the time it's a non-token creature. Rakdos Signet, obviously. Terminate, love this card. Stormfist Crusader. Beginning of your upkeep, each opponent draws a card and loses a life. So again, you know, that kind of helps everybody out, including you. So I don't know what the problem is. Unmarked Grave. This is for another card we'll get to. Bandit's Talent, at the when it enters, each opponent discards 2 cards. Again, I'm just using it for the, you know, the draw here, basically. Beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card for each opponent who has 1 or fewer cards in their hand. Blood, whatever that says. If you would draw a card while you have no cards in hand, you draw 2 cards instead and lose a life. So it's just draw for me. Mind Swords. Each player removes 2 cards in their hand from the game. You know, it's sometimes people, you know, they have too many cards in their hand and they're like, okay, you know, and they just need less, you know. Sometimes it just kind of helps, you know, with that. Snaring Bridge, obviously, because most of my cards are effect damage. I don't want to get attacked, really. And sometimes this hurts me, because sometimes I do want to attack. Alicia, basically, I like this card a lot. Whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then beginning of your end step, if you attack this turn, return target creature with mana value less than or equal to her power from your graveyard to the battlefield. So again, you can recur, you know, DRC, you know, and NT and stuff. And I guess Croxa too sometimes, you know. Not all the time, but, you know. Megrim, this is, you know, whenever by chance, you know, they discard a card, deals 2 damage to that player, to an opponent whenever they discard. So yeah, Oppression, whenever a player casts a spell, they discard a card. I mean, you know, that's for me to discard stuff from my hand, you know, because sometimes I need to do that, right? So Artillery Flow, each opponent discards 2 cards. If you control a vampire, which I don't play any vampires, so this card is really bad, right? Like, I don't get the lose 2 life and gain 2 life, right? So, oh, I guess no, that's a zombie wizard, isn't it? Yeah. So this card isn't that good. Liliana. Sometimes, you know, we get one player who's like getting ahead, so you -2. The +1, you know, it's all right, I guess, but, you know, I just do the -2, and, you know, and I'm like, oh, I have to tick it up, you know, so I can remove another threat. Oh no, you know, like, I have to discard 2, you know what I mean? Dark Deal. Each player discards all the cards in their hand, then draws that many cards, -1. So, you know, sometimes, like, I get a bad hand, and I'm like, okay, you know, I need to discard my hand and draw some more cards. I know it says each player, but, you know, just, it's really for me when I get stuck. Desolation. So, basically, what this does is, at the end of each turn, each player who tapped a land for mana during that turn sacks a land. Oh, if it's a plains, it deals 2 damage to that plains controller. So this is really just white against people who play white, you know, or if they play plains. Like, this is really just dealing the 2 damage for them. That's the only reason why this is in here. Botto's Pit here. During each player's upkeep, the player discards a card at random. You know, this is just here like because sometimes, like I said, like you know, I have certain cards in my hand that I have to discard. So yeah, anyway, Hellfire Mongrel, or whatever. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if they have 2 or fewer cards in hand, it deals 2 damage to them. Again, for the damage effect, right? Because, you know, the game has to end at some point. Braid's Frightful Return. So you may sack a creature. If you do, each opponent discards a card. You know, sometimes I need to sack a creature to, you know, do stuff, you know, right? So I'm really going down more than other people when I do that effect. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. You know, that's pretty good. Target opponent may sack your non-man, non-token permanent. If they don't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. So, again, that's only 1 opponent. So, like, is it really that big of a deal? Beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player has 1 or fewer cards in hand, deals 2 damage to them. And then, you know, the -1, you know, sometimes, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, you have 6 cards in your hand, you know, go ahead and discard 1 if you wouldn't mind. The -1 there. Doomsday Confluence, it's really just to help them out, you know what I mean? Anyway, so choose X. You may choose the same one more than once. Each player sacks a non-artifact creature. You know, sometimes people have too many creatures. I'm like, okay, I need to protect myself. Create a 3/3 black artifact. I have no idea. Dalek token with menace. And the last effect, you know, it's a nice little bonus, I guess. It just says each opponent discards a card, but you know, whatever. Rankle, whenever he attacks, he deals combat damage to a player. Choose any number. So you can choose all 3, which I do choose all 3 because I'm like, okay, you know, you guys need to draw some more cards, you know, and you know, I also have some cards I want to get rid of out of my hand, so you know I have to discard there. But anyway, you can also sack a creature as well. Siphon Mine, each other player. So basically, this is just a good draw spell for me. Yeah, so like, you know, anyway, what's this do? This is a Entropic Battlecruiser. So, you know, I didn't really care much for the, I guess, the spaceship mechanic, really, because you have to keep tapping your stuff at first. And then I was like, there's actually some pretty cool cards that do this effect. But anyway, what it does is when it has +1, whenever an opponent discards a card, they lose 3 life. Again, you know, that's just by chance, you know what I mean? It's really hard to tell. I mean, that sometimes is never relevant with this deck, you know what I mean? Flying Death Touch. Whenever it attacks, each opponent discards a card. I mean, it's just mainly here for them to lose the 3 life. But yeah, you know, it just so happens to do that. I just don't really know what to say. Fel Spectre. Whenever it enters, target opponent discards a card. And then I thought the art was cool, you know. And then whenever an opponent discards a card, they lose 2 life. Again, the art just was like, oh, you know. So anyway, Extinction Event, choose odd or even, exile each creature with the converted mana cost of the chosen value. Just a board wipe. Okay, Grimoire here. This card was kind of expensive, but again, I was like, you know, it's a book. Like, you know, Magic players need to learn how to read. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. So that's why I got it. Yeah, the effect, whenever an opponent discards a card, you may draw a card. So it's a good, you know, draw effect. It's only here for me to draw, and like, you know, this card's kind of irrelevant. Unnerve, each of your opponents discards 2 cards. Like I said, this is really just to help people out. So anyway, Raider's Wake. Whenever opponent discards a card, they lose 2 life. I mean, again, you know, sometimes it happens in this deck, not all the time, you know. Raid at the beginning of your end step. Again, I have cards that prevent me from attacking anyway. Like, you know, it's completely slipped with me, the artifact that's in here that prevents me from attacking anyway. So, you know, it doesn't really do anything anyway. If you attack with a creature this turn, target opponent discards a card. I mean, I don't really attack anyway, so it's just there for them to kind of lose life. That's all that's there for. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player has 2 or fewer cards in hand, deals 3 damage to them. You know, just I have to win the game somehow, right? Beginning of your upkeep, each player discards a card. This is here because, if it shares a card type with the card you discarded, they lose 3 life. That's why it's there, the losing life part. The other effect isn't really relevant. So cruelty of Jix here. Basically, target opponent reveals their hand, choose a creature or planeswalker card from it, that player discards that card. And then second effect, you tutor. The discard part is like, you know, what if they have Thassa's, you know, or something like that, right? Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under control. Again, we have the target for that in here. Eldest Reborn, each opponent sacks a creature. Okay, and then the second one, you know, again, it's whatever. And then put target creature, planeswalker card from graveyard on the battlefield under your control. So, and then cruelty here. Tazagur's cruelty, I guess. This is, you know, I need the exile cards on my graveyard because sometimes, you know, the pile gets too high. So that's why that's why it's really here, because of the delve. The other effect, you know, sometimes is relevant, not really. Anyway, Wold Gorger Dragon. Basically, there's a cool combo with that. We'll get to in a minute. And then Sire of Insanity. This Sire of Sanity, really, because like I said, it's really only here for, you know, helping the table refill their hand, you know? So, and the art is just, you know, really cool, right? So, you know, I don't really get it, I guess. Reach Sanitarium, each player, this is just to help people draw, you know. Is there anything else I want to talk about with this? Oh, there's another card that we need to talk about real quick. This is, again, each player discards a card. It's a sorcery speed though, so that's a huge downside, obviously. But yeah, so guys, just kind of tell me what you think. There's only one combo in the deck. I've never resolved this. It's basically put this in the grave, and then hopefully you have to have another creature in the graveyard that did this too. So you need to have both these, or whatever. Animate Dead targeting this, and then you also need mana that taps for both both black and red for this. So as long as you have that, you should be good to go. Basically, cast this, target this, it brings it out. You exile all your permanents, and then bring all your permanents. So basically, when this leaves, this dies again, and then it goes to the graveyard, and then your permanents come back. And then this enters again because it gets exiled, then it comes back because of this, and then this will trigger again, but with the trigger on the stack, you tap all your mana, you float all your mana, and then you let this resolve, you bring this back, and then you do it again. So you make infinite mana, and then you can just, when it enters, so you just say I have infinite mana, and people are like, okay, sure, whatever, if nobody has a response. And then when this is in the grave, you know, you target this, it enters, it dies, and then you put it in the command zone, and then you just cast it infinitely until everybody dies. So that's the combo with that there. Again, I've never resolved this, so again, I don't really know what the problem is. And that's all.